Why do black women feel so hurt when we see our black men with white women? Ladies.
I don't like to use the word hurt because I feel that puts too much weight on it.
Why do you think black women get upset when they see a black man date and or marry a white woman?
Black women
says that whenever she walks on the street and sees a black man with a white woman, she sees weakness in that man.
If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman,
of course I know that I'm good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you see it constantly on social media and the way that they talk about us.
Why do black women feel so hurt when we see our black men with white women? Ladies.
I don't like to use the word hurt because I feel that puts too much weight on it. Personally, I am not that sad or affected when I see a black man with a woman of another race, unless he's very fine. And she is not what I really think is, a good match. But I do question a lot of their choices because when pressed or asked about it, a lot of them have really lame excuses. Like Michael did the whole thing about milk flavors. And I was just like...
so weird.
Right. Like, just say you like what you like and this is not it or this is it.
Yeah, and we're seeing right through it because all of those types of explanations, they just read as superficial and inauthentic.
So superficial.
It's like, just own it, brother. I think it hurts me as well, only because I see black partnership as a black investment back into our communities. And when you look at our families, the first person you love is your uncle or your father, and you see this example of black men and black women loving each other, and to think that a black man maybe went through his life without wanting to build that same type of family, it can be very hurtful. And I do think there is this overarching belief that a lot of us are dating and marrying outside of our race. So far, I think it's 89% of the current men who are married are still married to black women, but that does not acknowledge how that statistics has evolved over time, because these new brothers,
The new niggas.
they ain't doing what your daddy was doing back in the day. They on a new wave, which is a lot of times dating outside their race or this whole exotic thing and stuff.
It's hard sometimes with conversations like these, and I think a reason a lot of black women don't even like to talk about it publicly is because, like you said, you don't want to be labeled as angry or desperate. And I know personally, I don't want to frame my whole life around the fact of whether or not some black man opts to choose me or not. But I think it's valid to be able to say this is how we feel, because we're already black women that exist in a world where we are not considered the standard of beauty. And then to have, the men that look like you and the men that you, like you said, you loved your uncles and your fathers and your brothers, and these men that you grow up thinking that you're going to choose and they're going to choose you back, are getting the same message that, their sisters and moms and cousins are great, but that's not who they're going to or necessarily choose or think are beautiful. So it is hard.
Why do you think black women get upset when they see a black man date and or marry a white woman?
Black women, they speak their mind, and we tell you what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept from you, period. And a white woman is not going to tell you what you should do, what you should not do, and they're not going to put their foot down, and they're not going to tell you, hey, I want you to do this and I want you to do that, and they're not going to speak on that shit, because you know why? Because they're white.
If you just look at the logical entailment of all the things that you said, he chooses the white woman because the black woman is too hard to handle. Seems like he wants something that's easier to handle.
To sum it all
so
up.
Then my question for you is, why would a black man want to handle any woman? Let's just reverse it real quick. Hypothetically, you've been living together with this man, but let's say you're the breadwinner. But when you went home to him, he was combative and nagging and being annoying to you. Would you like that?
No.
Oh, you wouldn't even choose that. So who's at fault for black men not choosing black women? We would have to say that the black women are at fault because they're not changing their behavior and getting on the black man's program. But the white woman
On the street and sees a black man with a white woman, she sees weakness in that man.
if I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him.
Ooh.
Something in him is weak. On the other side, I think when I see a black woman with a white man, despite all the historical context that we know that sits behind that, I think, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now.
A lot of people were not happy with what she said. Many felt her words were unfair and divisive because love shouldn't be judged by race. Some argued that a person's choice of partner doesn't define their strength or identity. It's about connection, not color. But others believe they understand what she was trying to say. They think she meant that black women are strong, bold, and straightforward, and that some black men go for white women because they can't handle that same energy. In her eyes, that's what makes them look weak.
I just really hate when black men date white women. It makes me feel like we as black women aren't good enough. This is a real tweet.
And so I really do believe, just to add on to that, that it's become sort of some type of fetish with some of these men.
Of course I know that I'm good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But when you see it constantly on social media and the way that they talk about us.
I'm going to get hated for this, but I just don't understand it. Black women, why do you get so bent out of shape when you see a black man with a white woman? My personal view is, why do you care? Why are you putting yourself in a relationship that you ain't in? Are you upset that that brother got a white girl and you might have wanted that brother? Now, contrary, I've never been with a white girl. I love my black queens. I'm not saying this because I don't want to get trolled. No, I really do. I've never been with a white girl. Doesn't make me racist. Just never had a chance. And plus, they don't really spark my interest like that. You know, they were cool. But why you get all upset like he cheating on you? Some of y'all black women got a man and y'all worried about that relationship. But if a black girl get a white man, it's all toodles sometime, or she get mad about that. How can you be mad at somebody that's happy? You mad because they ain't happy with you? Why you can't mind your business? It's probably why you with a white girl, because you couldn't mind your own business. Look, honey, look, why that black man with that white girl? That ain't right. My thing is, why is that so important when you in a marriage and a relationship? You need to be staying focused, getting to a bag, reaching your goals, but you too busy in they shit. Why? Why is that so important? That is the biggest turnoff for men. It's for a woman to worry about a whole nother relationship except for their own. You got problems in this relationship. Why you care about who he dating? Or who he married to? He happy. How you upset about him being happy? It don't matter who he with, who she with. They love each other. They happy. They ain't got problems like us. Cause you are the problem. And when you become single and alone, you still gonna be hating the same thing because you can't grow past any of that. It's time to mature up, black women. It's time to mature up. That white girl didn't do nothing to you. She just enjoying her man. Why can't you enjoy yours? Just make it make sense. Why does that matter so much if it has nothing to do with you? It has nothing to do with your goals, your job, your relationship, your marriage, your kids, anything you got going on. You should be trying to get to a bag and reach your goals in life instead of worried about this black man and this white woman. They ain't worried about you. You the only person worried about them. Who cares? Once you worry about giving your man some ass instead of telling him to sleep on the couch, maybe he wouldn't leave you for old Lauren. You ever thought of that? Y'all can hate me, just being honest. What does that got to do with us?
When he gets on, he's going to leave your ass for a white girl. Kanye West spoke about a disrespectful phenomenon that's been happening to black women in the black community and put a catchy beat on it, and people looked over it and jammed out to it and thought it was the best thing ever. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones, and I want to address this phenomenon that's been happening within the black community for years, specifically with black women and black men. And this is my take on this phenomenon. So if you have your views, you're welcome to address it on your own social media platform. There is this phenomenon where I think black men who are very toxic and have some severe racial trauma that they are not addressing within themselves are pushing that agenda out onto black women, where they're saying that, you know, you're not beautiful enough, you're not good enough to wife up. So what we will do is we will use you for your time, your essence, your labor, your sex, and all of the resources that you come with. And when we're done with you, or when we feel like we've leveled up in our own way, we're going to discard you and go after someone who is within the white race. And I've seen this happen with with both gay and straight black men within the black community, whereas they will use a black woman or a black man to climb and to benefit themselves, and then discard when they feel like they are, when they feel like they're where they want to be in life within their own finances, or just within their own ego, whether, they feel like their ego is to this point where it's like, I don't want to necessarily be a part of a community that I don't really like or respect. And a lot of that trauma, I feel, comes from their relationships with their mothers, their sisters, and maybe even their grandmothers. But one of the other things that I've noticed in working with black men over the years, and I've worked with a lot of black men over the years in my counseling practice and in the prison system, what I've noticed is that black men are groomed within their family structures to date outside of their race. And a lot of them are taught from their fathers and grandfathers that, hey, when you get to be of a certain age, you want to go outside of your race. You don't want to have struggle love or be with a black woman. And so they are conditioned. And mothers and sisters and aunts and other people stand idly by and watch this conditioning that occurs typically from males in their family. Right? And they'll even go so far as to even support the men in the family who engage in this mindset. Whereas black women, black girls are taught very early on to engage in struggle love. So, and sort of engaging in struggle love looks something like, you build a black man up when he's down, and you always have to back your man up, and you have to go through the struggle, and you need to stay in something that is unhealthy and dysfunctional despite how it affects you. And so black women and girls are conditioned to believe that by their mothers mostly, and then that's also reinforced by men and other women within the family and all of the community. And they're taught to, be a man's backbone without expecting anything in return. So you do all of the labor, you do all of the work, you give all of the love, and it doesn't matter if you're disrespected, abused, and not loved back in the process. And so that's kind of the mixed messaging that we grew up with in our own community, as well as standards of beauty. A lot of black women that I've worked with over the years have toxic mothers who do not like them very much, and so they've never experienced love. But that very same mother that very same mother that they have will love their son to no limits, right? There's nothing that their brother or their son or any man for that matter could do wrong, no matter how poorly they treat them. And that is perpetuating this phenomenon that, black men, especially black men who are toxic and haven't done the work, can use and abuse black women and discard them to get where they want to be. And I think that phenomenon, it actually expands beyond using and abusing black women. It also expands to just cherry picking and using and abusing the black community in general to get where you need to be. And so an example, I'll give a few examples of this. So for example, black male comedians, a lot of them, the backbone of their comedic stand-up is for them to sort of spend their whole stand-up talking about and mocking black women. There's a famous black movie director. All he does is dresses up like a black woman and shows movies and things like that where black women are getting abused. But when interviewed about black women and dating, he essentially said that black women should take the crumbs that they're given and be satisfied with that, so that they can accept lesser from a partner. So he also perpetuated that stigma and that stereotype. And on and on and on it goes, where, people are rewarding those that continue to disrespect and degrade Black women. And what tends to happen is this. And we've seen it over and over again with professional athletes, movie stars, or people that, you know, encounter some unfortunate situations with Black men in the community. What will happen is they will go on, like Mr. West said, and you know, when they get where they need to be, they will drop the Black women that they were with for years, that boosted them up and a lot of times helped them get to where they needed to be in their career. And then what will happen is that they will get into some trouble. So they can get into some legal troubles, they can get into some financial troubles and things like that. And what do you know what happens when that person, that white girl that they wanted, that they coveted so much, leaves them because, hey, they didn't sign up for that. They didn't sign up for that part of the lifestyle. They sign up for the fun, they sign up for the money, and they sign up for the status. But when all of that goes, that Black man then comes back to Black women in the community and looks to be boosted up, right? Again. And we've seen that as recently as this year, last year, and so on and so forth. Not only that, but you have Black men, entertainers and so on and so forth that, you know, that say, oh, Black movies don't do this. They don't make any money, or, you know, this and that. But you also have musicians and other people that say that they don't really want to partake in the Black community, but they want the fruits of what the Black community provides for them. So they will come and perform in Black communities, make money off of the Black community, but they don't really have anything to do with the Black community after that. So for example, there's been several male Black actors that predominantly only date white women that have said after they've made enough money off of working in Black films, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to work in Black movies anymore. I don't want to be associated with that. And I only want to be associated with, you know, Tom Cruise roles or something like that. And then what happens? They get into trouble and they come right on back. You know, and next thing you know, they're kind of cozying up in a Black film or whatever after they've kind of gone on like this tangent and disrespected the very same community that has made them a millionaire or has supported them from the start. So I think that is a lesson that we must heed to, is that don't let anyone benefit off of your labor who's not really into you. Learn to be discerning and learn to command love and respect regardless of what you've been taught. And that is my message to Black women, and that we need to stop supporting people that do not love us, that do not want us, and stop putting all of the benefits in their pocket without them actually investing back into you.
Am I crazy for saying I will not date a Black man that dates white women? And I'm not saying like you can have never dated a white woman. I'm just saying if you continuously date white women more than you date Black women, I don't want to date you. And I feel like I've run into this issue my entire life. Like I went to a PWI. I grew up in like a white suburban area. Like I am very familiar with Black men that want to date white women. But through my experiences and seeing the patterns that I see from Black men that date white women, I just know that that's not for me. Like the characteristics of that type of man is not the man that I see being my partner. And I like try not to stereotype people or like put them in a box, because I truly don't think that all Black men that date white women or like have a preference of white women are this way. I'm just saying I've noticed it enough for it to be an issue with me. And like, I just have noticed that those men tend to be uncomfortable in their Blackness. They tend to be a little bit more insecure. I typically intimidate them, which I don't really understand because I'm like so nice.
So therein lies the issue, is that she don't think that they Black enough. And more importantly, she feels like she's inferior And so now she's projecting that onto other people as to why it is that she not available for these guys. Because I don't even think that it's more or less about whether or not she's choosing not to date them. I think that they're choosing not to date her, and she's feeling some type of way about it. But let's continue into it.
And I also just noticed that, like, they don't really respect women, not even just black women. They specifically disrespect black women more, but, like, they don't typically respect women at all. And that's definitely not the kind of person I'm interested in dating. So I want to know from other black women, is this crazy to say? Like, is this a crazy standard to have? Because I've always been like this. I've always said I refuse to date a black man that dates white women, but I don't know. Maybe
I'm amazed at these women that never want to be stereotyped, that says that black women get the worst end of the stick, but then at the same time, that's what they do subconsciously and consciously. They stereotype other men as though they have a whole lot of choices, because if you was a wife or you was a person that people seen as wifeable, whether it be your personality, your attitude, your disposition, or how you choose to treat other people, then you would be a wife. And you only need to find one great person. So to discriminate a person based off of, or to complain about discrimination based off of whether or not a person is dating other people or is open to dating other people, is insane to me.